thing the other night. We got in bed and he handed me the remote. Very sweet. And my husband has had 2 knee replacement surgeries, and when he was in the hospital having his last knee replacement surgery, I was like, oh, it's my fantasy that we're going to be walking on the beach by this summer. He turns out and looks at me and he says, naked? I said, no, not naked. Oh my gosh. That pretty much sums it up. Yeah, I told my husband that I was going to get a tramp stamp, and he didn't know what that was. And I was going to say because he's old, but it's not that. It's he watches old TV, I guess. But I explained it to him, and he goes, oh, I'm probably the only one who'll see it. You should get a Ford Falcon. I said, I'm not getting a Ford Falcon on my house. I said, I don't even like Ford. I'm a Chevy girl. But I'm not hip when it comes to drugs because I thought Oxycontin was a fabric softener. I was like, what are they doing with that? Sometimes I think the worst. Well, my husband has a friend that, I don't know, I don't give him the benefit of the doubt ever. I always seem to think the worst. And last year I was out of town for almost a month, just a few days shy of a month. And when I came back, there was this white crispy stuff on my coffee table in the living room, so I scraped it onto this piece of paper carefully, and I took it into the den where my husband was, and I said, do you know what this is? And he goes, where was it? And I said, on the living room coffee table, and he sticks his finger in it, sees his mouth, and I was like, oh! I'm like, how did you, it could have been poison or battery. I said, he goes, probably not on the coffee table. But he says it's salt. I'm like, salt? He's like, yeah, it tastes like salt. And I said, I just wondered because he said, well, didn't you have a margarita in there before you left to the airport? And I was like, yeah. So I was really suspicious, but it was actually my own margarita salt from my own margarita glass. I was like, there hasn't been anyone in the living room in a whole month? And he goes, I don't think so. I've been coming in through the garage. And I was just yes, as a matter of fact, I did have a margarita in there before I went to the airport. I was like, okay. Oh gosh, yeah, I think a tramp stamp is way more of a commitment than a ring because, you could take that wedding ring off. But... All right, thank you guys.
Give it over, Chassy, everybody.